In this video, I'll be reviewing your Pokemon, and in this specific video, it is Harpie King who have submitted 3 Pokemon. The first is a really cool Absol. And so the first thing we can note about Harpie King's Absol is the ingredient list. Oh, come on. This cursor is very hard to move. This Absol is triple cacao. And so Absol is actually the only triple cacao Pokemon as of the recording of this video. Now, Blastoise is another Pokemon that commonly is used for cacao, and it's pretty good at it too. So it's not necessarily the case that you need an Absol if you want cacao, but it is really good, especially if you happen to find one with some good sub skills, and that's what we're going over in this video. Absol does not evolve, at least currently. We'll see if it has a Mega Evolution eventually, because it does in the main series. So this Absol is level 45, and that is something I can say right off the bat. Absol is ridiculously hard to level up, and so getting the Absol to level 60 is going to be a hassle. And to that, I would probably recommend most to just go for Squirtle with the ABB, where you have double cacao. And then you don't really have to think too much about the leveling aspect of the Absol. So Absol is triple cacao, it is strong, and the first sub-skill on Harpie's Absol is helping bonus. Now that is huge. That makes it so that it could actually be worthwhile to use overnight. And in fact, it does have inventory. So if we look at the comparative inventory, let's see, it has 37, so that makes me guess it has around 200 hours on it. Although having a level 45 Absol with only less than 500 hours on it, that is pretty impressive. That means you have either had a lot of good friends in your friend list sending you Absol candy, or you just dumped a lot of handy candy into it. Now, the nature we can also put in here is lax. I actually don't mind this nature, although obviously having ingredients up here would have been preferable. But the main skill on Absol means nothing, and so at the very least, this is above neutral. You gain more energy every time you're healed by the healer, and because of the helping bonus inventory combo here with the mono cacao list, this is an Absol that you can actually carry with you overnight. And I'm thinking too, like, let's say if we just make this an overnight Absol, max inventory sitting at 44. What's cool too is at level 50, it's got Ingredient Finder M, and that significantly increases the reason why this is an Absol worth investing in, because 18% on the ingredient rate is super low. And so to buff that up to 24 is huge, especially with a triple ingredient list like this. Usually you have to knock a trait or 2 down off your wish list if you get the mono ingredient just because it's so rare. And that is a trade-off. So inventory S is coming up at level 75, and I would actually recommend you to sub-skill seed this potentially, because then you would be sitting at 56 inventory. That is actually what my Absol has. And you can just run it overnight. You get more cacao, you have a decent production on it. And the thing with the ingredient specialist is it's not the case that it's illegal to run ingredient specialists overnight. It's just you need to make sure that it has sufficient inventory to where it won't run into sneaky snacking, because a sneaky snacking ingredient specialist that does not have berry finding is really, really bad. So that's kind of the rough thing here. But yeah, this Absol, I actually think I would run overnight because it has ingredient finding as a level 100. I don't know if you could get this Absol ever to level 100, but if you did, this would be a busted cacao Pokemon. Helping bonus, one of the best sub skills in the game. Supplemental inventory, really, really good. You get some extra energy throughout the day, which means it is going to produce more overnight, because it's more likely to end up at, 130, 40% by the end of the day. And that's pretty good if you run a healer. And yeah, the actual sub skills here are inventory S. So overall, this is a really nice find. Congratulations, you have cacao solved for. And by the time this gets to level 60, it's going to be absolutely busted, whether or not you run it during night or just day. And so the next Pokemon that Harpie King has submitted is Dragonite. Whoa, another triple list here. So we can put in the Dragonite. I will have to work a little bit on my buttons still, but I'm trying to figure out some macros here to reset my form. But for now, you can know that the Dragonite is triple herb. That is really, really strong. Overall, we don't really need to do a deep dive on the Absol, I think, because Absol has too much nuance to it, because it has also apples. And so if we have a look at ingredients, we can go down here and find Absol. Just briefly, since we talked about Absol, here's the widget. I have a little bit of an expanded evolution section here because I personally am a huge fan of Mega Evolutions, and I think it would make a lot of sense in Pokemon Sleep. I'm just thinking they're potentially holding it off until Legends ZA to have a thingy there. But yeah, the thing I wanted to point out here is this table right here, in case you wanted to screenshot it or look at it or whatever. The AAA we can see is listed here. It's actually not among the highest value drops, and the reason is the mushroom here is pretty high value. That is the highest value here at level 60, although having cacao at level 30 is a good idea. Now, I don't know if I would go for mushrooms on the Absol, just because double apple or triple cacao is such a strong list for it during desserts. Although Neroli's tea, that should be a dessert if I remember correctly. And so Absol is really a full-on desserts Pokemon. And we can see the AAA 705. You compare it to the top, it's not a whole lot different, but you're getting specifically what you need. So that can be a worthwhile trade-off. And then in terms of berry production, you probably don't want berry finding on the Absol because it is a single stage evolution with limited inventory. Now, the actual Pokemon I wanted to take a look at here is Dragonite. We've talked a little bit about Dragonite in the past. So here's the widget, got the evolution section. And what I wanted to see here is this value right here. The average production value of a mono herb Dragonite is 607. Now, the most valuable list overall is AAC, which is herb oil. Probably don't want oil on your Dragonite, let's be honest. So you're either going to be looking at the mono herb list or the double corn list. And so they're pretty close in values here, so just whatever you need is going to be the better choice. So let's hop back into the comparison here, or actually the expansion, the Hopes and Dreams Simulator. The Dragonite here is level 41, so it's just become a Dragonite. There is a pattern here. A lot of people seem to just stretch it for level 41 and then do some lockstep investing. So you make a big step up from 41 directly to 50, and then 50 directly to 60, unless you have berry finding. But yeah. Oof, there's an unfortunate nature here. It's got the modest nature. However, speed of help down, it does suck. But the fact that it's got ingredient finding up, if this Dragonite has a couple complementary ingredient finding traits, then that's going to be pretty huge. Now, the first thing here is helping speed M. So that is a little bit unfortunate because the helping speed down factor is going to steal a lot from that helping speed M. And so we also have some inventory. I don't think you really want inventory on the Dragonite, honestly. We can put this to, let's see, it's actually got, yes, it has evolved twice, hasn't it? So we can do twice here, and then we can put 500 here maybe. No, 0? Yeah, wow, it's got less than 200 hours on it. Listed here is 48. Now, this is where the Dragonite here takes a turn upwards, where the modest nature actually makes sense. You can defend that now because you have ingredient finding M, you have ingredient finding up nature, you have speed, even though it's messed up with the nature, You got some inventory. All of these are really good factors. And overall, Dragonite is a really strong Pokemon. So the fact that you have a mono ingredient Dragonite with a 43% ingredient rate, that's huge. Now, these sub-skills later on will take a while for you to get to. Skill Trigger M, probably not all that needed on the Dragonite, but you can see it does help out a bit with the self-healing. And then there is some more speed coming in at level 100. Pseudo-legendaries take a lot of experience to level up, basically 50% more than everything else, except legendaries, which are even worse. So practically speaking, you're probably going to look at this. And I mean, speed of help is a huge detriment, but overall, because you have the ingredient finding M and the ingredient finding up nature, as well as the mono list, I think this makes sense. So this is a great investment. Congratulations. I hope that at level 60, it's going to do you a lot of good. Some people may consider the bear finding a Dragonite. It's a bit of a choice. It just depends on what your goals are for the most part, and whether or not you're lucky and get that roll. But for me, if I had found a Dragonite like this, that would be just case closed. That works. So the last Pokemon that Harpie King has submitted is, and I haven't seen this beforehand. That's what makes this fun when you guys post 3 in the chat. I don't know. It's a Ralts. All right, let's have a look at Gardevoir again. Oh man, I'm always excited when I can bring up Gardevoir in the widget. Well, currently it is level 14. It's a Ralts, so it's a Gardevoir to be, potentially. And so we're just gonna wand it to level 50. And we can start with the nature, which is Sassy. Ooh, one of the best natures for main skill specialists. Or skill specialists, rather. And the first thing we can have a look at here is it's got inventory. And that is kind of nice on the healer Pokemon, because sometimes you do want to carry it overnight, and so you have a better chance of waking up to double trigger. And at level 50, we have the amazing Skill Trigger M. Now, the subskill level 100 here is Ingredient Finder S. Just so we have that here, I'm going to zero it out, but just know level 100 doesn't matter here for this Gardevoir. Now, here's where it gets interesting. It's got the whole combo here. Like, wow. Put a subskill seed right here, and you have Helping Speed M. And basically, this, yeah, well, if you put a subskill seed, maybe this one even becomes here. Basically, listen, this is as good as you can dream for a Gardevoir. I understand it does require 2 subskill seeds. I understand the Skill Trigger S is coming in late, level 75, but it's there. EXP gains down nature is going to hurt a little bit, but overall, man, this is beautiful. This is exactly what you want in a Gardevoir, and you're going to be very satisfied with investing into this one. I'd even stretch this one just because it's this good. I would actually heal with this one overnight and get 2,000 hours clocked on it, get that experience because you're going to need it, and then overall, you can get some extra inventory, you can work in this Gardevoir, and oh man, is it going to be a good healer for you. There is a lot of ongoing discussion these days in the nirtheart Discord server when it comes to energy for everyone and healer in general, because of how the energy scales as you increase the main skill level. So I just wanted to comment briefly on that here in this video. For me, in my opinion, Gardevoir is among the few double S tier Pokemon. Now, if Old Gold Power Plant, God willing, has Electric as favored berry, I think Raichu has a spot there in the double S tier too. Now, that means, in my opinion, the best Pokemon in the whole game should get the best treatment. So I wouldn't cut the hunt short, even for the healer, because we don't know if there's ever going to be any changes to the energy system, and it would really suck to have to reinvest because you hunted a little bit too short. I think the healer needs to be a top priority no matter what. And essentially, some of the arguments is, if you look here, at the actual healing here, once you get to level 7, level 8, there is a case to be made that maybe you don't even need to continue on going. We have not heard anything about 8 or 9 or 10. That's why these are grayed out. But based on how the game scales and everything, it makes sense, in my opinion, that max main skill level will be 10 eventually, someday in the future. Hypothetically, we'll just see. And with that in mind, there could be some changes. Now, I know this is a lot of speculation on my end, but it's just built on the foundation that Gardevoir is the best Pokemon in the game. It's the way this is. And if there is a change to the energy mechanic, let's say Mega Evolutions come out, and the mechanic there is they consume twice the energy than a regular Pokemon while in their Mega form. That could make it so that any Pokemon that can Mega Evolve simultaneously on the field. That would be really cool. And maybe if it dips below 80%, it just reverts back to its original form. No problem. The problem then is, even the best Gardevoir put on the team at all times probably wouldn't be able to keep that up, even at main skill level 10. Maybe. This one's a good contestant. That would set you up for the future for any scenario. So I think it is worthwhile to really go on a long hunt for a Gardevoir. Now, the difference between a Wigglytuff and a Gardevoir, if you find a really, really strong Wigglytuff, is not that detrimental. The biggest effect there is going to be how many main skill seeds you can put into it. And if you have a Wigglytuff basically from the start that is very strong, then it will have a lot of sleep hours on it, I'm sure. That's nice extra inventory. And overall, Wigglytuff 2, probably not double S tier. I would probably put it in S tier because it is among the best Pokemon in the game. Sylveon is up there too, but Sylveon is falling more and more out of favor just because of how many of the other evolutions are useful, although there is a strong case for Sylveon, and I'll lay this out in this video too. So all of the evolutions have a unique typing among the evolutions. So there's Eevee, Jolteon, Flareon, Vaporeon, Umbreon, Espeon, Glaceon, Leafeon, and Sylveon. All those added together are 9 typings. In total in Pokemon, there are 18. And so if you just happen to catch a Leafeon and a Jolteon and all the rest of them without really having to invest a lot in them, you can make use of the candy conversion for the type candies. So spread across 50% of the type candies can be converted somehow to Eevee candy. And so to get to level 100 with a Sylveon is way easier than any of these other healers. And if you're like me, who has perfect sub-skills across to level 100, busted nature, the only little ding on mine is potentially that it's not a Gardevoir, and also that it has skill level up M instead of helping bonus or berry finding. But aside from that, I have a Sylveon with perfect stats. And at that point, I don't have a problem with level ups. Like right now on my main account, I'm sitting at 300 Eevee candies and I'm ready to just dump it, just like whoop, on the Sylveon every time the level cap increases, and I'll just keep doing that to level 100. There's no one's gonna stop me, and that is the underdog argument that Sylveon could potentially be better than Gardevoir. I don't know. It's just one influence on it. In terms of raw skill, Gardevoir is best. But this game is long and we just have to see what happens. I actually wanted a Gardevoir, but I just realized there are a lot of things you have to consider. Like, I've spent a lot of seeds on the Sylveon. It's not that much worse in terms of trigger. It has way more candy availability. And that is the topic we never talk about. Like, Slowbro, the candy availability on Slowbro is ridiculous. Every snoozing session, wherever you are essentially, except Taupe Hollow, there is a Slowbro just waiting to be collected. So yeah, this became a very long discussion on healer Pokemon overall. I hope you found it interesting, and I can briefly mention this video is a submission hosted by Harpie King Did I say Colin at some point? Man, I have Colin on my mind. I don't know why, but I recorded a video for you yesterday, and yes. Anyway, Harpie King. If I ever messed that up in this recording, I don't know. Harpie King's Gardevoir, amazing. Posted here in YouTube My Mon in the nirtheart Discord. Now, if you want to join, it is $2 a month to become a YouTube member. You essentially get lifetime access to the nirtheart Discord by just being a YouTube member for a single month. Even if you end the renewal on the very same day, as soon as you've made it into the doors of the Discord, you keep the access. You just have to follow the rules. Be aware, my Discord is strictly against cheating. That mostly applies to the main series games, as Pokemon Sleep is server-side based, and so there's no cheating here. Thankfully, I love that about Sleep. You also get early access to videos and priority reply to comments and other feedbacks. So, something to consider for the month of September. All the new members who decide to join and post 3 Pokemon in the YouTube My Mon, I'll make a video for you. Now, the queue is starting to get a pretty long list, but I will do it. I've committed to it, and so we'll just post one of these every day until the queue runs out. After that, we will be doing some theme videos, and so in the future, you'll also have the possibility to post Pokemon, but a dedicated video will maybe be some other thing in the future. We'll just take one thing at a time. And so right now, become a YouTube member, get access to Discord, have a video if you want it. So, hope you enjoyed this video. You can leave a like if you did, and I'll talk to you again in the next videos. Thank you for watching.